I know I'm glazing. Leave me alone. I love it. Okay, I love it. Anyway, guys. Hello and welcome to a Crosswind news update video, I guess we'd call it. Devblog 5, new teaser, buy to play confirmed, early access in 2026. We will go through the update in a moment. Before we do, let's take a look at my reaction to the new teaser dropped on the Crosswind YouTube channel just a little bit ago. Let's get into it. Oh boy, here we go. Oh, we've got crew on the ships. Look at it! Oh my god. Okay. Mary Bullard. An alchemist. Nice. Let's just have another look at this. What have I missed? Have I missed anything? So is this a new town or is this Tortuga with some sort of raid on it? Not sure. These are some of the drowned sort of undead creatures you see around the game. That's definitely some sort of town. I know Tortuga's getting revised for the release. I'm not sure if that's Tortuga or somewhere else. Not sure what's going on here. This looks good. New point of interest, maybe? Are the fallen soldiers new? Trying to remember if I see these guys. The fallen soldiers. Trying to think. I can't remember. These might be new. But this area looks new. I don't recognise. I mean, it looks like the swamp area, but this might be a new, like I said, point of interest somewhere. And this is the crew. So in the playtest, we didn't have the crew visible on the ship. Once you found them, your ship and everything worked, but you couldn't see them. Obviously, this is the reveal that they're now in the game and working. And yeah, this is them working on the deck of your ship. That looks really good. A couple of Blackbeard ships there. I don't know if I'm missing something here with the bosses, because these bosses were in the playtest. Is something new here I'm missing? Oh, wait a minute. Is that a new ship? Is that whatever's after the frigate? Is that a different ship? That might be a different ship, you know. Now this looks like maybe a new building at Tortuga. Or maybe it's when I just didn't go inside, but this looks like inside a tavern or something here. And Mary Bullard, the new alchemist. Unlocks brewing of very potent potions. Increased chance to brew legendary potion by 10%. Mastering of ingredients. Increased yield of components from processed materials by 25%. Okay, they say magic is forbidden, but I say ignorance is the true sin. Higher for 100 coins. I still can't work out or pronounce how to say what them coins are. Idiot. But yeah, for 100 coins we get Mary Bullard, the alchemist. Very cool. Okay, so we've also got Devblog 5, new teaser, buy to play confirmed, early access in 2026. A new Devblog update over on Steam. So let's take a little look. Ashlands biome, PV co-op focus, monetization decision, and what to expect in the future. Ahoy mateys, since the alpha ended, it may have seemed quiet on the surface, but behind the scenes we've been hard at work. I don't doubt it for a second. This dev team is amazing. During this time we reviewed player feedback, analysed playtest data, and reassessed our priorities. Today we are ready to share important updates on the direction of the project. Before we dive in, here's our little summer progress teaser. That's the video we've just watched. This short preview offers a glimpse of what we've been working on. Among the highlights is the Ashlands, a scorched and dangerous biome with new secrets and treasures buried under volcanic ash. It is filled with new quests, challenging enemies, expansive dungeons, and more. Okay, so I wonder if the area where I thought might be a new town is the new Ashlands biome, possibly, with some of the new points of interest there. A little bit confused because I did just see before this dropped an NDA on the Discord that I'm part of for the playtest. But obviously they've just released all the information anyway, so I'm not too sure what's going on there. I don't know if I'm treading on thin ice here or not. I assume because it's out on the YouTube channel, it's here on Steam, I'm okay to talk about it. The seas are also becoming livelier with visible crew on deck, which we see in the video, complete with new animations and recruitment mechanics. Oh, okay, so when we see the clip at the end of buying the alchemist, that is how you now, I'm guessing, recruit at least some of the people you can take on to join your camp and do stuff around your base. Water physics and behaviour are also being updated to make naval part of the game more dynamic and immersive. Oh, okay, so I didn't really mention it when I was watching the video a moment ago, but I did wonder if there was something different with the water. Tortuga has been completely reimagined, now a besieged outpost where the living hold defence against the dead. I was right, okay, so that wasn't a new POI in the Ashland, that was Tortuga. And it's obviously getting raided by undead, and you've got to help control the problem, I imagine. And there is much more to come. We'll share additional details in future dev blogs. Maybe I should have read this before I watched the video, but I was so excited to watch the video. Winds of change. Let's get to the key points before we dive in to elaborate on each one. We are changing the genre focus of the game to a more traditional survival game with PvE co-op as the main multiplayer component. What does that mean? Honestly, if PvP was the main focus, that's not what I got from the playtest. My initial thoughts around like the focus of the game when I was playing the playtest was a heavy focus on the PvE content and a solo to small co-op experience, not an MMO, so to speak. More focused on, like I said, a solo experience to a small group of players in a co-op situation. That was my feeling of it. But they're saying they're changing their genre focus of the game to a more traditional survival game with PvE co-op as the main multiplayer. Okay, I'm not too sure what they're meaning by that, to be honest. Let me know in the comments below if you've got a better grasp of that than me, because I kind of thought that was the focus anyway, was the traditional survival game with PvE co-op as the sort of main multiplayer component. We are changing the distribution model from free-to-play to a traditional buy-to-play game. Okay, so during the playtest, when it finished, I'd done a little review of the game, and in there I did mention that it was free to play, and there had been some talk. Again, like I said at the time, it was not like big dramas or nothing like that, just healthy discussions back and forth between people in the playtest, the dev team and everything, just talking about the pros and cons of free to play, the pros and cons of pay to play, and them sort of things. And it seems now the dev team have moved towards a buy to play situation with the game. Our goal now is to bring Crosswind to early access on Steam somewhere in 2026 as a solid, enjoyable survival game which we can support with content and feature updates on its way to 1.0 and hopefully beyond. I'm really hoping, please, can we have another playtest or an even earlier point of access to be able to play this? I just can't wait for it. I'm so excited. I'm missing it so badly since the end of the playtest. It fully got its claws into me, this game. I absolutely loved it, and I'm dying to play it again, as are many other people. Moving to classic co-op experience. When Crosswind first took shape, our core vision was a survival game built around progression through distinct biomes and bosses, enhanced by MMO-like elements. Players would have their own worlds to control, with PvE gameplay entirely in their hands, but could also venture into shared zones featuring both PvE and PvP encounters. It was an ambitious blend, and in the early days we even referred to it as a survival MMO. The alpha test highlighted several factors that made us change our vision. We faced some hard truths about the technical challenges of this original approach, supporting the kind of infrastructure needed for a true MMO, even if it's MMO light. Experience is a major undertaking, especially while aiming for the level of polish and quality we expect of ourselves. And can I just say, the level of polish and quality for a pre-alpha playtest was insane. Absolutely madness. So again, fully believe every word they're saying there, because their standards for themselves seem to be very high. We're in good hands, I think. Providing stable global server coverage and seamless large-scale multiplayer is a significant challenge for our studio of our size. At the same time, many players told us they were perfectly satisfied playing Crosswind solo or with a group of friends, enjoying the traditional survival gameplay without requiring a large-scale online environment. Another important observation was that the majority of our players came from a traditional survival gaming background. Their feedback made it clear they valued depth, pacing and atmosphere of that style over the structure of an MMO. Yeah, I would agree with a lot of that. I feel like if you've seen other content on the channel, you see some of the live streams I've done throughout the Crosswind playtest. I would have mentioned Atlas and something, and I'm gonna call this right now. Before Atlas failed, I put out a video basically saying that the Atlas dev team needed to be very careful with what they was listening to and what they was focusing on, because as someone that was immersed in the PvE side of the game, I could see what amazing content you could create with that game, and the possibilities of expanding its story, expanding its gameplay content, etc. And they seem to have moved to a focus, I'm talking about Atlas here, not Crosswind. They had seemed to at one point move to a focus on PvP, and in my opinion at the time, and I believe I was right, listening to a very small, loud minority that they thought was the best direction. And it sunk the game. As far as I'm concerned, that was basically the straw that broke the camel's back with Atlas. They completely ignored the PvE stuff. They believed that the PvP was the way to go, and they completely ignored, from my view, the PvE side of the game, and just focused on the PvP stuff, which they couldn't balance. and they just couldn't get the game to work. And the downside to that was because they wasn't doing anything to the PvE side of things. If there was no PvP to be going on, there was no content. I see that coming a long time before anything bad ended Atlas, and it's great to see here that the Crosswind dev team understand the importance that you need to have a solid game behind everything. Like, there has to be solid game content. No matter what you want to do in the future, whether you want to add PvP later or whatever, there has to be solid game foundations with solid content that people are going to enjoy and be able to do when they're not doing PvP. It's really important. Otherwise, there's nothing. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up there, that it's great to see this take from the dev team, that, you know, they understand at least at the base of the game, the core of the game, there has to be a hook. There has to be solid content that's going to keep people playing, because you can get interested and uninterested in PvP, but if there's always stuff to do outside of that, you'll stay playing the game. You're not going to go off and do other things and maybe never come back to the game. You're going to stay enjoying the game. Sorry if that's a bit of a tangent, but yeah, I really like reading this. This is brilliant. Taking both this feedback and our own limitations into account, we have decided to focus Crosswind's multiplayer on PvE co-op rather than MMO Lite. This means you will be able to play offline, host your own sessions, run dedicated servers, and, in the future, play with mods. And even if not supported, mods will at least be technically feasible. Great, that's great, yeah. Really important, especially for survival games, I think, to have the ability for people to create mods, create crazy worlds that they can constantly add new things to, and, like they say, host their own servers and do all that kind of stuff. I think it adds a lot to the game. I think what people overlook with mods is, if you think of something like Skyrim, I know it's not a survival game, but if you think about Skyrim and games like that, that game is so old, by the way, mega old. And you know what? It never really disappeared, did it? Like, from when it came out until they done the like updated versions of it recently and stuff like that, it never really disappeared, because the mod community. There was always mods. There was always people playing and trying out mods and modding everything they possibly could. It keeps people interested in a game. It keeps them constantly coming back to it, even if it's every so many months or every other year. They're coming back to it, which means the game never dies. It never goes away. And when you bring out new content for that game or make a new version of the game, people are interested. They've not forgotten about it. It's still part of their gaming life. It's still there always, if they're interested in it. And I think that's the case with a lot of survival games. You know, a new survival game comes out, you enjoy its vanilla version, and maybe you finish all the content that's currently available. There's not going to be a big patch update or expansion or whatever for like a year or so, maybe longer. You don't know when it's coming, but you've got mods, you've got modded servers, you've got the ability to make your own server with your friends. And again, the game never goes away. It stays there in the back of your mind at all times. That I fancy playing that. Let's go play that. I'll play this mod this time. We'll add this mod to the server. I've just seen this great new overhaul mod. Let's restart the server, start a fresh playthrough for the 100th time. You know, it's a great asset to have. And you know, there's a big modding community out there that love making mods for games they enjoy playing. So I think this is great news. And also, one of the more common things I would see people talking about during the playtest was the ability to play offline, was the ability to be able to have their own server at some point. Is it going to be possible? Will we be able to play with mods? It was a big talking point all the time, but a lot of people were asking about the solo offline side of the game, and would it be a thing? So yeah, this team really listens to everything, and clearly they are weighing things up and going, yeah, okay, this will be viable, this would work, this would be good for the game. I absolutely love this dev team. Absolutely amazing. PvP is not entirely off the table, but it will be a much, much lower priority for now. For now, see? Implementing it properly would require a lot of effort that is currently needed to complete the core of the game. Again, they're nailing this. We remain open to exploring PvP in the future, but no commitments can be made at this point. I promise I didn't read this before my little rant a moment ago if I've left it in, because it was a bit of a rant. But this is what I was saying. You need to have the core of the game finished and in a really good state before you start messing around with PvP. Because if PvP flops and there's no content that people are going to enjoy and to get their claws into and to keep that constant playability of the game is dead. Because the PvP doesn't work for balancing issues or whatever, people bail on the game and leave. And if you've not got a solid game foundation with good PvE content, you won't have that core player base that are just doing PvE to keep the game alive. I hope this makes sense. I said it earlier. I don't know if I've left it in or not, but this is what killed Atlas, in my opinion. I said it at the time. The dev team focused too much on a at the time a loud minority in the PvP player base, and they completely focused on PvP and satisfying the PvP player base that would disappear as soon as things went wrong, that they ignored the PvE side of the game and killed the game. Because when the PvP wouldn't work and they couldn't get the balancing right and they couldn't get everybody to be happy, because you're never going to make everybody happy, the PvP player base leaves and the PvP players are already gone because you ignored them. You didn't focus on the core of the game, the story of the game, the content of the game. This is really important. These guys understand they need to have solid, stable foundations so that then you add PvP, you balance PvP as you go in, and if it doesn't work, you've still got that game underneath everything that people love. It's important. People won't agree. I know it's just my opinion, but I truly believe that. You can't go ignoring the actual game and focus on PvP when you don't have nothing underneath it. Because if it doesn't work out with the PvP, the game's gone. It's done. As you can tell, I get quite passionate about this because I loved Atlas so much, and to see what happened to it. So, and like I said, I truly believe that's what killed Atlas. And to see these guys talking like this, like, to me, it shows that they've got different values, and I think they've chose the right focus here to create the game on a solid foundation. And I hope they do add PvP, and later on they add some focus to it and develop it and balance it and make a really good, in-depth, interesting, competitive PvP part of the game. Because it is important. People love it. I love it. I love PvP. I love PvP on Atlas. But again, it needs to be after you've got the game sorted. In summation, Crosswind will move forward as a classic survival game with PvE co-op at its core, rather than an MMO-like survival. We understand that this is a big change, but we believe it is the right step to develop Crosswind to be a fun, enjoyable game for you, while offline play, self-hosting, and dedicated servers will provide additional flexibility that was not feasible technically in the old concept. I think over recent years there's been a massive misconception that everyone wants a big MMO. I've said that before, comparing this game to Valheim. I think Valheim sort of showed that that's not the case, because you could play with other people, you could co-op, you could play on dedicated servers and stuff, but you could play on your own. And I think a lot of people played on their own or with like one or two other people for the most part. And I think there's been a few other games like that as well. I think there's a big misconception in the gaming world from the dev side of things, I imagine, really, that for a survival game in particular, it has to be an MMO. No, I think, like these guys have said, like, you know, have a good solid game and give people the option. I think that's the key. Give people the option, isn't it? I think a lot of people are going to play this game solo or with a few friends. I think a lot of people are going to play it in an MMO capacity on a private server and things like that. But I think they've called this right. I think this is definitely what they should be doing. Buy to play instead of free to play. Another topic that frequently comes up in community discussions is monetization. For a long time, we imagined that Crosswind could be free to play. However, we've always maintained our priority is to first create a game worth supporting, and only then decide how players might support it. Now, we believe the time has come to make that decision. After moving to a classic PvE co-op approach and reviewing alpha feedback, it became clear that the most of our audience prefers a one-time purchase model. A free-to-play version would require monetizing multiple aspects of the game, which could be controversial unless limited strictly to cosmetics, and would also require a constant flow of monetized content. We came to another hard truth: as a small team, sustaining Crosswind as a live service game would take resources away from developing new features, expanding the world and improving the core experience. In addition, the buy-to-play model has long been a staple of the survival genre. As fans of survival games ourselves, after getting the full picture with the genre shift and your feedback, the choice felt natural. This way, we can dedicate our time and energy to where it matters most, building richer gameplay, expanding the world, and improving overall quality. Okay, so like I said earlier, with the free-to-play stuff, I think there's quite a big conversation to be had, and the buy-to-play. So maybe I'll do another little video and we'll just focus on that. But what I will say here, I imagine the big worry that came through on the playtest from people being against free-to-play, that the monetization model might create a pay-to-win situation. And that is a worry with any free-to-play. But from what the dev team had said, I don't think that was going to be the case. I do think they would have made it free-to-play and focused on cosmetic items, essentially. Things that just, you know, buy cool armor sets, armor skins, cool ship skins, maybe some different sale options and stuff like that. Just cosmetic things that don't change the game in any way. They're just a visual. There was also talks of, at a later date, releasing more story arcs, and that was where I was a bit concerned, because to me that means you're adding a DLC. Unless that DLC is going to contain quests with rewards that are only cosmetic, then it was going to be a problem, because the minute you release a paid DLC essentially for the new story arc, if that story arc as rewards gave you new weapons, new armor with better stats than you could get in the free-to-play version, that's technically pay to win, and it leaves people with a sour taste in their mouth, because, you know, some people might be on a tight budget, and if they're paying a free-to-play and an update comes out for, say, $15, $20, £20, whatever, then they might not want to buy it or can't buy it. And if they can't buy it, but they still want to play the game, and a lot of other people do buy this content, and they've now got better stats on items and weapons and stuff, they're at a disadvantage. So I think that would have been quite sketchy. They never said what the story arcs would contain other than new story arcs. I do think, though, that if they are doing it as a one-time payment, you buy the game for however many pounds or dollars, and then, you know, in a year or so an update comes out, like a DLC, new content, and you buy that, that's great. But I think if the game's at a sensible price for your first purchase of it, and the DLC comes out at a sensible price, I don't know if they're going to do that, but if they do add paid for DLC in between that, you know, I think they should still have a cosmetic shop where people can put a few quid into the game and buy an armor set that's just cosmetic. Nothing that's going to be adding stats to the game, just pure cosmetic armors, ship skins and things like that, because it'll generate a lot of income for the dev team. And I trust this dev team from everything I've seen so far and how they go about their business. I fully trust them. And I think if they can generate more money, it's only going to benefit us as players. Because I trust them. I trust what they're doing. I trust their vision. And if them generating more money is going to allow them to keep making amazing content and keep this game going for year after year after year, or maybe making Crosswind 2 in the future, or whatever their plans are with the future of the game, I'm all for it. I think they've got to make money. But yeah, we'll leave the pay-to-play and free-to-play stuff there. Our next big step, early access. Since the alpha, one of the most common questions has been whether we will move directly into early access. The short answer is no. Oh, you bastards. Not yet. While the alpha was a significant milestone, it did not reach the level of completeness we believe an early access release should have. Wow, that is... See, I'm telling you, these guys' standards is levels above everybody else. Because I still can't believe how good the early access, the playtest was. Thanks to you, we received a large amount of feedback covering mechanics, balance, stability, and quality of life features. We believe addressing these points are a must-have for early access launch. For us, early access is the next major milestone, and we want it to feel substantial, polished, content-rich, and worth investing your time in. Not everything teased in the trailer is necessarily scheduled for early access launch, but you can expect more features and quality of life improvements compared to the alpha. The early access version will be larger than the playtest, and we will continue to expand it while taking your feedback on board along the way. We are currently aiming for early access in 2026, and the exact release window will be announced in a future update. Come on, please give us something before, please. I need to get my fix. Looking ahead together, we understand that these changes may raise questions, and we will be happy to address them. For now, our focus is on building a strong foundation that reflects what players value most in Crosswind and what we as a team can bring to life in the best quality possible. With your feedback and support, we are confident in creating a game worth your time. Thank you for following our progress. Yours truly, the Crosswind crew. Guys, seriously, I love this team. This is amazing. Let me just see. Early access in 2026. Okay, yeah, so that's not the release. They're on about just the actual early access in 2026. Oh, I'd love to play this game before then, but looks like we're going to have to wait. Maybe there'll be another playtest. I really hope I can get on it if that is the case. So there we go, guys. There's the Devblog 5, the new teaser, and a little bit of an update from the Crosswind dev team. Absolutely amazing work, guys, if you're watching this. I've got nothing but praise for them. Unbelievable standards them guys have for themselves, you know, and I've said it hundreds of times now, I think. This team puts the rest of the dev world, for the most part, the big dev companies at least, this team puts the big dev companies to shame, in my opinion. Like the way they go about their business, the game they're creating, the standards they hold themselves to. Unbelievable. Thank you so much for bringing this game out. I can't wait to see what the future holds for it. I know I'm glazing. Leave me alone. I love it. Okay? I love it. Anyway, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it insightful and helpful in some way and informative. Yeah, I'm actually in the middle of trying to edit down some of my streams from the playtest a couple of months back and releasing them into a series of videos on the YouTube channel and on Rumble. So if you're interested, don't forget to hit that subscribe button or follow on Rumble to get notifications when my videos go out. If you want to join live streams of survival games, simulator games, building and crafting games in general, then you can catch me live streaming across multiple platforms on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble and Kick. So you can take your pick there on your preferred platform if you want to join some of the live streams. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Another massive shout out to the dev team. Thank you for being awesome. I absolutely love this game. I can't wait. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.